Hey guys, good morning, everybody. Today is Friday, June 21st. It is 6:19 right now. Market's gonna open in about 11 minutes. So I'm gonna go ahead and set up this room real quick and we'll get started shortly with our analysis for today. Just got a few things here to update and we should be good to go. All right, looks good here. One last thing. All right, looks like we are good to go here. So let me get this link sent out to you guys here in the premium. Link's going out now. Perfect. Links out. And there we go. All right, guys. So as people join in, I will give it a few moments. There we go. All right, and we'll start market liquidity over here. Go down to the 8 hour. Down to the 4 hour. Going down to the 2 hour. Down to the 1 hour. Down to the 30 minute. Down to the 15. Down to the 10 minute. And it looks like we're good to go. All right, guys, good morning, everybody. Today is Friday, June 21st. Happy Friday, everyone. 6:23 right now. Market's gonna open in about 7 minutes. I've marked up liquidity over here. So looking at the current, fix this down below. I don't know what's up with that ATR down there. Let me refresh this real quick. All right, so that fixed it. All right, guys, so good morning, everybody. Today is Friday, June 21st, 6:23 right now. Market's gonna open in about 7 minutes. I've marked up liquidity over here. Closest level of liquidity below is at 39,476. Let's see if I could pull up here. And the closest level above is at 39,687. So those are the first two levels of liquidity closest to current price. They're not super close, but they're close enough to likely get hit today during the live session. So I've marked that up right there. Going up here to our clean chart, I am going to mark up 630. So if you guys remember from our discussion yesterday, the market's typically volatile and directional from 6:30 to 7, and then it typically goes sideways. So we'll keep that in mind today as we follow along for some opportunities for entry today. So we have a resistance right here. Price is currently at the 4-hour resistance. Going down to the mark this up here. Going down to the 1 hour. I think the zones here are going to be too close. So I might have to just take off these zones, guys, for the 4 hour and the 1 hour. Yeah, because price is pretty much sitting in between both of them right now. So let me go back to the 1 hour real quick. I'll see if there's anything closer that I can. Yeah, because this thing's too wide. There we go. We'll just leave it as is like this. If I need to make changes, I'll make changes. But I mean, even at this point, it's still kind of close. But here goes the 1 hour support. Price is obviously bouncing off it. Might come back and retest it. And there goes the markups on our clean chart. So let's go over here to our main chart. I believe we have news today at 6:45. So we have news at 6:45, 7, and 7:30. There's a lot of news today. Hopefully we get our entry before we get to that point. But we're not going to take any drastic entries today. So 6:45, 7, and 7:30. A lot of news events today. So we'll see what happens here. When market opens, as you guys can see, price came up, bounced directly off the sessions right there and the whole number. Now it's come down a little bit. So it looks like everything's pretty much marked up. If you guys are just joining, I've marked up liquidity over here. Closest level of liquidity below is at 39,476. And the closest level above is at 39,687. The ATR right now is currently at 11. So it's not super low, but it's also not super high. It's kind of where it should be pre-market. We got market opening up in about 3 minutes. So we'll see what happens there. And let's see what's here so far. So morning Vimal, morning Sadie. Nick said high level momentum scalp. Let's see. Yeah, so a high level momentum scalp just came up right here. Had the higher high right here bounce off the 600 level, and the sessions came back down right here with the sell signal, broken close past pivots 1 and 2. And this here was a high level momentum scalp pre-market. So if anybody caught that pre-market, solid, still running right now actually. But yeah, it's a little tricky pre-market. So we got market opening up in about 2 minutes or about a minute and a half. Again, guys, so just recap of what we discussed yesterday. Typically, the market moves directional from 6:30 to 7. So if you're looking for some directional entries, that'll probably be the time to look for those opportunities. And then after that, look for any sideways entries using the V1 variations and CV entries. So just gotta be a little cautious with the times of your entry. I mean, we'll see. We'll pull up the market profile once the market starts moving here on open, and we'll see if we're looking for direction movements or for sideways movements. Either way, we have a playbook for either one. So it's not really a big deal. Let's see, Nick said he caught a divergence in high-low scalp pre-market, so he's not going to be forcing anything today. Yeah, no. That's probably the best thing you can do there because yeah, with it being Friday, you know, the holiday weeks are typically like this. So this isn't unusual for the market to move very irregular. Like yesterday was a weird market. We came back from holiday Wednesday. I typically don't like to take any risky trades during holiday weeks in general because they usually don't end up good. If you guys have been trading with me for a while, you guys have seen that. Usually when it's a holiday week, the market's usually kind of sideways. It's either flat or you just get some random spikes in price. It's not really smooth at all. And this week, pretty much, I mean, it pretty much just shows you it really depends on when you trade. Timing is always is always important when you're day trading because a lot of things can happen. So, all right, guys, market is now about to open. There goes the opening panel right there. Well, markup, open price. All right, so we got price climbing up right here. Or not, just going back and forth. All right, we don't really have much of a direction here. You can see price opened up, it spiked above and it spiked right back down. So, how are the opening prices down here? It's like way up here. Sorry, guys, let me fix this. Oh, what's up with my charts here? All right, so we got price kind of bouncing around right here. Trying to get past the levels over here. But it's not really getting much luck. Price kind of just spikes around right here back and forth. So initially it opened up right here, pushed up slightly, came back down, bounced off the open, and it is coming back to opening price right here. So I'm going to wait for the market here to stabilize a little bit so we can identify the market profile. Typically, like you said yesterday, the market usually moves directional first half of the market and then typically goes sideways. Looking at this here, it looks like market's doing the opposite. It's actually going sideways here on open, and we might get that directional push later in the session. So this is why I was telling you guys yesterday, there's no reason to change your trading plan or your trading strategy because you can't really predict what's going to happen next, right? We kind of assumed market was going to be moving directional here for the first 30 minutes. It's not, it's actually going sideways. So it's always important to give the market some time to stabilize and so that you guys can analyze to see how it's moving. Right here, obviously price is going sideways. It's pretty obvious. And if that's the case, then it's basically doing an inverted movement of what we expected yesterday. So just got to be a little patient, wait for this here to move. If it continues to go sideways, that's completely fine. We'll look for some sideways entries. If price starts to move directional, we'll look for directional entries. My guess is that price is probably going to go sideways for a while because we do have high impact news right here at 645. We have S&P Global Manufacturing PMI, Global Services PMI, Global Composite PMI, existing home sales, and existing home sales month over month. So yeah, looking at this here, price will probably go sideways from now until 645. We might get some movement right before news. A lot of people who are kind of gambling what the news is going to happen here. So the news here is forecasted to be negative. The PMI inflation news right here is forecasted to be negative. As you guys can see, they're lower numbers compared to the previous. Same with existing home sales. So we're probably going to get a back and forth movement here up until the news. When news happens, it's probably going to spike up, move in the opposite direction of news, or it's going to go spike down. So it's pretty obvious right here. You guys can see prices consolidating in between the whole numbers. So the whole numbers are right here between 600 and 550. Just going back and forth. Probably gonna keep doing that until news happens at 645. Here goes a high point. Here goes a low point. At this point right here, I'm probably going to look for sideways entries. Possibly V1 variation, CV entries, stuff like that. But we'll just keep waiting for this here to kind of play through. Hey, Joe, morning. Let's see. Drew said retail finally one-sided. Let's take a look at retail sentiment for right now. So retail sentiment is currently 63% short. This indicates that 63% of retail traders are currently selling right now. So you typically want to do the opposite and buy. It's not super strong, but it is one-sided. So we'll probably look for this to drop down a little bit, lure in some more sellers, and then come right back up. There is a levels entry that is setting up right here, guys. I probably wouldn't recommend taking it because you guys can see how price is going sideways. The thing that you can assume here is probably a fake out. So price might come down below here, fake out, and then swing back up. It might not even come down. You can see right here, price is having trouble getting past this whole number right here, the 550 mark. So same thing we marked up earlier. Price is having trouble getting past this whole number and past this whole number right here. Let's see, Rashida said the 5-minute hit for pre-market for levels at 550. Nice. Yeah, so there's one right here. Price came right here below, or it came above, retested, shot up to this point right here. So I think you probably have to trade in the direction of trend because you can see over here the same thing happened on the top point on open here, or you just avoid the opening candle. This would have been a flop, of course. So just keep that in mind, guys. If you guys are looking at the 5-minute, because I was testing the 5-minute, I have to do a bit more testing because there has to be some sort of bias when you guys are trading it. Can't really trade in both directions because you can see this one worked out, but this one didn't. Obviously because it was in the opposite direction of the trend, and that's kind of the way that I would look at it as well. Yeah, exactly. So Rashida said, yeah, she'll stick to the trend. I agree. I think, you know, for the most part, sticking to the trend is usually going to be beneficial for you. So I would stick to the trend whenever possible. Obviously, if you want to counter trend trade, that's fine, but just make sure you test it enough to make sure that you're trading in the safe direction. So these candles right here are pretty crazy. As you guys can see, these huge wicks. The ATR is actually extremely high right now. It's currently at 25.27. So there's a lot of volatility. There's not really much direction, but price is bouncing back and forth between these two levels right here. And again, right here, failure to break past it. So you guys can see price comes up, fakes out, comes down, fakes out. Just fakes out in both directions. But you guys can see the key areas to look out for is going to be these whole numbers right here. That whole number below the 550 is close to the 1-hour support right here as well. So you can see how price kind of just comes down and bounces off this point. If you guys want to catch the bounces, you can. I would personally look for the bounces off the bottom level, though, not really the top level, because I think this can easily just shoot up at some point, right? Like we looked at the retail sentiment earlier, a lot of sellers are on the sell side for retail. So obviously we'd want to stop them out and go the opposite way. But again, here we go. As price comes back down and goes sideways in between this range right here. So all the real movement's happening in between this area right here. Everything above and below is a fake out. Yeah, I guess it's safe to say market structure right now and market composition is a sideways market. It's pretty obvious. Liquidity is still pretty far from it, so there's not really much opportunity for direction. I mean, if price comes down below, obviously it's going to come down and try to reach this level of liquidity. If price pushes above, it's going to do the opposite, right? It's going to climb up and try to hit this level of liquidity up here. My guess is that this is going to happen eventually. Might not happen, you know, very soon, but eventually it's probably going to come up and hit this level of liquidity above once it breaks out of this range. You guys can see the range here is super obvious. So just be smart about your positions if you guys do decide to take anything here. I mean, there's nothing to take here to begin with, so I don't think there's anything to really worry about until price really breaks above. I would look for price to break above opening price and continue climbing from there. So break opening price, maybe retest it, and climb up from there. That's probably not going to happen until news. All right, we got news in about 5 minutes. 6:45 high impact news. We have PMI, existing home sales, etc. pretty sure that's what price is waiting for here. Price is waiting for the news event right here at 6:45. Once this news event happens, it's going to spike. I'm expecting a decent spike out of this area. But the thing that you want to be careful for is when that spike happens, look for the market reaction. Look if it reacts in a way that it corrects back into the zone, or if it pulls out of it and continues climbing the opposite way. So we're starting to get some pre-news movement right here, as you guys can see. We're 5 minutes till news. Typically around this time is where people are going to start entering their positions, kind of hoping that price is going to spike in their direction. There's no real way to predict news. Even if news is positive or if news is negative, doesn't mean price is going to go up or whether price is going to go down, right? Price can be positive and it can still spike down, and price can be negative and it can still spike up. Expect the manipulation to happen. Personally, I like the manipulation because if news is negative and it goes up, I'm expecting price to correct right back down right after. So I personally like when price gets manipulated off news. I don't like when price goes in the proper direction because it kind of takes the fun out of identifying the correction back to where it's supposed to go. So, I mean, realistically, I'm probably not going to take any trades until price gets down to the 500 right here, or until price gets up to the 650. I think any trades between this middle area right here is going to be a little too risky because price is probably going to keep faking out back into this range, right? So price might push up a little bit, fake out, come right back down. Opposite direction, price might come down a little bit, fake out right back into this middle range right here. All right, so we're getting this pre-market or pre-news movement right here. You guys can see how price is starting to dump a little bit. We got news coming up in about 4 minutes. The reason for this is because the news is forecasted to be negative. So a lot of people are probably hopping onto that sell. And then when the news happens, it's probably going to spike right back up. So I wouldn't recommend chasing this right here, guys. This is a very risky move to chase because the news is right here in a few minutes. This is where all the gamblers get into the market. They're getting into the market because they think price is going to drop. As soon as they get in, price is going to come up and stop them out, right? Or they might get into the buys here and price might go up a little bit here right before the news and then comes right back down. So I'm gonna wait for it here. Whenever you see a big move like this right before news, you know that the move to follow it is going to be really big. So I think there's going to be a big spike right here. Whoever's entering these trades here, it's either going to be they're going to get really lucky or they're going to get really unlucky. There's a triple confluence right here, like Nick just mentioned. So this candle right here, broken close past this lower low. It was a sell signal, so that qualified as a triple confluence. Looks like it dropped down about at least 10 points. Yeah, it did. Yeah. So if you guys took the triple confluence, not one I would take, it's too close to news, but that was a triple confluence right there. And you guys can see here how price is starting to correct back up. So it's starting to correct back up and it'll probably spike right back down. Or it'll correct back up and spike all the way up in the next 2 minutes. Kind of curious to see what happens here. The news at 7 o'clock is also high impact. Actually, the existing home sales is not till 7 o'clock, but the PMI is right now at 6:45. So we got 2 minutes right here till news. So you guys can see the fake out right here. As I said earlier, price is probably going to fake out and then pull right back into the range, right? So to be safe, of course, you want to wait for price to get pretty far out past the 500 and past the 650 above. Here goes the fake out from this point right here as price pulls right back into the range. We got news coming up in about less than a minute, guys. Let's see what happens here. We got news in about 30 seconds. So let's see who's gonna chicken out first out of these people trading the news. Let's see if price spikes up or spikes down. It might spike both directions and just stop people out both ways. All right, we got news in 10 seconds. Got news releasing in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here goes the news candle. Big spike to the bottom. Wouldn't be surprised if it spikes all the way back up. So there we go with the news right there. So we got PMI news right there, high impact. I mean, it wasn't as big of a spike as I was kind of anticipating. I mean, it spiked pretty big, but let's see. Spiked about 40 points, not super big. The news is actually positive. So you can see right here, this is what I was saying, like you guys can't really predict news because it was forecasted to be negative. It was actually positive, but even though the news was positive, price still spiked down. So it did the opposite. So what we might see here is we might see the manipulation to the downside and then look for the fake out and correction back up. Right back into the range up here. So again, this is why you don't trade news, because it doesn't matter what the news says. It can be positive, it can be negative. Price did the complete opposite right here. It didn't have the push. So it came down a little bit. And now I'm expecting the correction back up. So maybe look for a high level momentum scalp if, this ends up swinging back up, guys. Because that's probably going to be the case. Maybe even a breakout V3 continuation. It's going to be tough to catch that high level momentum scalp because the buy signal there is probably not going to come up yet. So we're getting a divergence here, like Nick mentioned. It's right at news price though, so it's a little tricky. But if you guys want to take this up, I mean, this is probably going to push up to the range right here. See, the divergence is coming up right there, Nick. I don't know if you're planning on taking that up. The candle, for one, the candle was big and it was touching the news, so a little tricky, but yeah, I wouldn't mess with that there. I wouldn't mess with any entries right here now because you want to wait to see how the market reacts to the news event, right? The news event just happened right here at 6:45. It was a high impact news event. Obviously, you can see price was manipulating down. So it's easy to get caught in these fake outs here in both directions. For me, I like to trade when the market's kind of stabilized. Right now, it's not stabilized. It's touching the news candle, right, or the news price right here. So again, this is a red flag. I wouldn't even touch anything around this area. I mean, if anything, if price pushes back above this right here, then, maybe look for opportunity to correct back up from this point. So there's possibly a levels entry that's coming up right here. Maybe even a breakout V3 or a breakout V3 continuation. Oh, and there goes a high level momentum scalp, guys. So this is the one that I was telling you guys about. I said, look out for the high level momentum scalp back up. I think it already hit. Or not quite, almost. So the high level momentum scalp's actually still running right now. Or actually just hit. So it just spiked up right there and it hit right away. Again, I'd probably hold off before taking the entries here because for one, the ATR is extremely high. Look at the ATR right now, guys. The ATR is currently 31. Now, if you're going to take any entries here, you're going to have a bigger TP stop loss because a 15-15 is way too tight. You might get stopped out before it hits your TP. 15-15 is too tight. Even a 10-20 might be a little too tight. Yeah, I think the 15-15 would be just way too tight to take anything here. But again, the price just did what we were expecting. So as I said earlier, look for the fake out here and look for the push right back into the range. So, I mean, the real movement is happening right here within this area. The levels right there just got hit. Nice work, Rashida, if you caught that. I was tempted to take it right there for the levels, but because of the price movement here, it's just a little tricky. Yeah, Rashida said she didn't take it either. I would be careful about taking any entries right here, guys. Price is obviously still reacting to the news event. News event was positive, so that's why it's correcting back up. These are the type of moves that I actually like. But the volatility is just too high. So the volatility is too high here. Like if you want to take an entry here, guys, you might want to take a 20-20, maybe even a 25-25, or even in some instances a 30-30, because the ATR, we haven't seen the ATR this high in a long time. I'm surprised the ATR is really this high right now. So there's a couple entries that came up. The high level momentum scalp that came up right here. This is what I was telling you guys to look out for. I said if price comes down here, look out for the fake out, possible high level momentum scalp back into the range over here, which it did. There was no breakout V3 continuation. If this candle closed green, it would have been. There was also a levels entry right there. The problem with this levels entry is that, I mean, it's kind of been used already, right? Pre-market. So we'll see what happens here. I mean, so I'm looking at the market from a sideways profile right now, where I think the directional entries would still be a little risky here because price hasn't really moved a direction. It's trying to climb up, but the thing that you want to be careful for here is the fake out, right? Look out for the fake out here and look for the correction back down into the range. And that's exactly what just happened right there. So I think for now, I'd probably focus on these sideways entries because you guys can see how it fakes out and then it pulls right back into the range. This is what I didn't want to get caught in because this is what we got caught in yesterday, right? You just got to stick to the game plan. If the market's sideways, stick to sideways entries. If the market's going directional, focus on directional entries. Right now, the market's obviously not directional. It's fake out up here, fake out down here, fake out right here, and of course, pulls right back into the range. This is the range right here down the middle. So not really much here. We got more news at 7 o'clock. It's existing home sales, high impact as well, forecasted to be mixed. So month over month looks like it's supposed to be positive. For the actual month of May, looks like it's supposed to be negative or about the same, neutral. All right. So nothing here has changed. I'll draw resistance right there. All right, so looking at this right here, this is the current range. Obviously, you guys can see support levels right here. This is the 1 hour support. This is the 1 minute resistance. Price has had trouble getting past this point here. Looking at this from a cleaner view from the levels chart, you guys can see it's the same thing. This whole lower level right here is a 1 hour support. Price came down to the very low end of the 1 hour support. And again, it's just consolidating within this middle area right here. Got a pending sell signal here. What you could look out for here is a possible CV entry, if anybody's looking for that. It's going to be tricky though, because for a lot of these sideways entries, we're looking for a move in the direction of the trend, and the trend here is starting to shift a little bit. So it might be best to wait until after news right here after 7 o'clock. You guys can see how messy the market is here. So this is where the real movement's happening. It's going to be hard to catch something in here in the middle because it keeps bouncing back and forth. All right, so price is pushing back up right here. We'll see if it finally breaks out of this range or if it just pulls right back into it. So again, look out for another fake out, just like what happened right here. Possible pullback into the range below. So price is rejecting off the support level. See if it bounces off, pulls back into the range. And this whole area right here is a red flag anyways. We got a lot of higher highs right here. All right, price is trying to push past the higher high over here again. It's probably not gonna have luck though. It's probably gonna pull right back down. So price did push past the higher high right there, pushing right past the resistance level. Let's see if it pushes up to the 50 mark. We got news in 5 minutes coming up. Thanks, Kevin, for the heads up. So again, this is probably just movement prior to news. Same thing that happened over here with the 645 news. You can see how price kind of came down a little bit. News is positive, then it corrected right back up. Same with this right here. Price is pushing up. The news is forecasted to be negative. So this could just be another fake out. Price pushing up a little bit. News happened at 7, comes right back down. So price failed to break and close past the resistance right here. Again, it's trying to get past the resistance, but it's not having much luck. It gets past it and it gets pulled right back down. Not smooth at all. Let's see if the PRB actually came up today. So not really. I don't see any PRBs here because the trend here, well, it looks like a PRB just came up right now. So we have the trend right here confirm. We have the rejection, second touch right here. So the PRB is actually running right now. I mean, not one I'd recommend taking because it's in this area of manipulation. But the PRB is currently running. It's right at the sessions though, so it's not a good area to be trading in. It's an area of red flags. I just marked up the PRB there to follow if you guys want to follow it. I don't recommend taking it because obviously the sessions is right there. There's no breakout V3 continuations or breakout V3s that have come up yet today either. Yeah, there's nothing here, nothing there, nothing. All right, so there goes a fake out. Price faked out right here at the resistance, just like we anticipated, and it pulled right back into the range like we anticipated as well. So, I mean, we're in a sideways market, guys. I would stick to sideways strategies. I'd probably be careful with any of the directional entries for today. But you can see price is just faking out. Price gets this high point, fakes out, pulls back into the range. Price gets this lower point, fakes out, pulls back into the range. It's the same thing over and over again. So the pattern just keeps repeating itself. It just gets pushed up a little bit higher. So pushes up right here, fakes out, pushes up right here, fakes out, pushes up a third time right here, a little bit higher, fakes out again. You got news coming up in about 2 minutes. All right. So we got news coming up right here in about a minute. Price again has trouble getting past this whole number, which is the 600. That's lines up with the resistance over here on the 1 minute. So we got news coming up right here. I don't think it's going to be a big spike in price. And Josh just said, man, this market is choosing violence. Yeah, exactly right. Well, I can see a lot of people getting stopped out right here. So just be careful with your entries because I'm pretty sure if people are entering sells here, if they enter a sell at the wrong time, it's easy to get stopped out. If they enter buys at the wrong time, it's easy to get stopped out as well. We got the news coming up right here in about 30 seconds. I'm not expecting a big push, but I'm expecting some sort of a push, like some sort of market reaction to existing home sale. It's high impact, so I mean, it should have some sort of effect. Then we have gas stock change at 7:30. All right, we got news coming up in about 10 seconds. And there goes the news candle right there. So there goes the news candle right there. Let's take a look at the news. News was mixed. So it was pretty much what we anticipated. It was what they forecasted. So existing home sales month over month was negative. Existing home sales for May was pretty much neutral. And there goes price right there, push around. See breaking news from CNBC. Let's take a look real quick. It says, okay, home prices hit record high in May as sales stall. Here goes a news event from, or reaction to the news, how the market's pretty flat, but home prices just went up even more. All right, guys, we're cutting into 7 o'clock. So as we cut into 7 o'clock over here, there may be opportunities for some sideways entries. We're kind of away from all the news, so hopefully we'll have something here. It's got to be a little patient away for these candles to kind of smooth it out. As you guys can see, it's not really, the opportunities here aren't very, they're far from none. And there we go, we pull back into the range. So again, same thing that I've been telling you guys pretty much all session and pretty much all week. Look out for the fake outs, guys, because the fake outs here just keep happening and they just pull right back into the range. So if price gets above this area, look out for the fake out. If price gets below this area, look out for the fake out, right? The fake outs are going to be your key catalyst for entries, really, because the trend here is bullish. So if price pulls down and you get a fake out down below here, you get a V1 variation or a CV entry, it's probably going to push up, right, to your TP. So the trend here is bullish. The key thing here is to just be careful if you get an entry around this area up here. So, I mean, it's okay if you get an entry anywhere down here, but if you get an entry above this area, you want to be careful because it's probably going to fake out and come right back down. Same with this area down here. If you get an entry down here, you want to be careful because this could probably fake out and push right back up to this middle area right here. This middle area is pretty much the meat of the market. So you guys can see price just keeps pushing up above the 600 mark right here. Every time it pushes up, it gets faked out and it pushes right back down. So you just don't want to be on the wrong side of the market. Again, I'm probably going to wait for price to push above a little bit. It's not really in a good area right here. I mean, there's a bunch of red flags in this area anyways. So you guys can see there's a sessions, news price, opening price, etc. This whole area right here is not great. So I wouldn't want to trade here anyways. There was a divergence right here, but it happened right at the opening price and news price and sessions right there. So divergence did happen right here. You guys remember the divergence entry? But again, it's in a tricky area. The ATR is still very high too, so something to keep in mind. ATR is still close to 30. Yeah, Rashida said the 650 levels may be good. She wants a sell signal first, though. Yeah, same here. I'd like that sell signal to confirm the retracement. Once we have that confirmed retracement, possibility of it to climb up higher. Price hasn't really pushed away from opening price. So you can see over here, this blue line is opening price. It hasn't really pushed away from it. It's still kind of close to it here. So I wouldn't say that it's really chosen a direction at this point. It looks bullish, but hasn't really climbed up very much from here. One thing that I would probably look out for here as well would be well, there's no MPS here because this candle already filled. So this dropped down to here. The entry would happen at this point. So there was an MPS that happened here at 653. It was a little close to news, so yeah, obviously a little tricky. So there was an MPS that happened right here. Otherwise, no other MPS is here at this specific moment. All right, price again is stuck in the 1 minute resistance level. Again, you guys want to be careful for the fake outs. I know we're looking for some buys here, but you want to be careful for some buys around this area because it's probably going to pull right back down. So, I mean, the buys here are probably going to be something that you want to think twice about, think 3 times about, 4 times about, because yeah, it's just not a good area right here. So again, price is pushing back up right here, but every time price pushes up this point, I wouldn't be surprised if it just wicks right back down, right? CJ said the market is moving like it took a lot of coke before it opened or something, right? It's cracked out right now, as you guys can see. The market is cracked out, as you can see. Like the wicks are the biggest factor here. I think the wicks are probably the biggest thing here to be concerned with, right? Because the wicks mean that price has no direction. You know, if you have a lot of wicks on both sides, that means price is just spiking back and forth. It's not a good sign. You want like full body candles. If you got a full body candle, price will just climb up smoothly or climb down smoothly. Um, this right here, you can see there's huge wicks on like pretty much every other candle. So, and again, right here, the same thing that I just warned you guys about, the fake out is happening right here again, right? Price pushed up, wicks back down, pushes back up, wicks back down. I wouldn't be surprised if this pulls right back into the range down below. So again, you just got to be smart with your entries here. You know, I'm not trying to scare you guys into not taking any positions, but I'm trying to look out for you guys because I don't want you to get caught in the fake outs up here. So, I mean, if you guys see something, just make sure to think twice. If you see an entry there, you can even bring it up and I'll analyze it for you. But for the most part, I think this key area right here, again, look at that fake out. See, price broke and closed past the structure here, the resistance, and the fake out happened immediately. So I'm not really messing with these directional entries right now because it's so easy to get faked out. So let's see how far this dropped right here. This thing dropped down about 20 points. Not a good sign. You can even look out for the fake, like the correction. So like, for example, here, wait for that fake out, have a buy stop waiting right there for late entry, and then climb it after. But even at that point, I still wouldn't take it because either way, I think this whole area is just going to keep getting faked out. Right? Again, right there. Another fake out as it pulls right back down below. And then again, another huge wick right here, right? Yeah, it's tricky. So the next level of liquidity is pretty far up, guys. It's at 39,687. So we're not going to be anywhere near that until price really breaks past the 650 here. So I'll take a look at that a little later. Yeah, Rashida said it's Friday. Don't force anything. I agree. 100%. No need to force anything here, guys. The entry will probably happen eventually, but I mean, you just got to have the patience to wait for it. So price is bullish here. Of course, I would like to take some buys here, but it's just not looking so great. It's not looking so great because it's in this area right here where the fake outs keep happening, right? And there's another fake out right there, another red candle. So it's climbing up, but it just keeps spiking back down. There goes a break and retest off the resistance level here. Here is our levels chart. Yeah, Nick said it might push for 650. I think eventually it's going to push to 650, but I don't think it's going to be a very smooth move. It's going to keep kind of getting faked out right here. Yeah, Nick said, even though, don't think I'd take it. I agree. I wouldn't take it either. There could be a possible. So this is like an MPS that Kenny tries to look for, I think. I don't know if he uses only one momentum or like one high or whatever, but price did break past the high point right here. This one too. So this would be a MPS in Kenny's view, because he typically takes MPSs if they break past the higher high, or not higher highs, but just any high lows. Not sure if you're watching right now, Kenny, but I'll be looking out for your setup here too, just to test it out to see if that's like a confluence that would be good to add. I mean, the NPS is kind of strict already as is, but I mean, any good confluences would be good. All right, so let's see. Price is still climbing, but you guys can see every candle here has a pretty strong wick below. So price is climbing right here, pushing to the next level of resistance. This is the 1 hour resistance above here. Price finally pushed up to the 650 right there. If anybody's looking for levels, I'll mark it up for you guys, but I'm not going to take it, of course. Actually, it looks like it's not going to break and close past it. So now look out for the fake out here again as it pulls back down. Yep, so price rejected directly off the 1 hour resistance right here. And we'll see if this becomes a new area of consolidation range. So we had the consolidation range down here. Price climbed its way up. This might be the new level of range, which is fine. At this point right here, I would probably be looking for a CB or a V1 variation, something like that. There's some high-low scalps that are coming over here. Yeah, Kenny said not taking this one because of the wiki movement and dojis within the push. Yeah, and I agree with you too, Kenny. I would think exactly the same. There's like no clear retracement candle or no clear red candle here, of course, as well, you know, just to confirm it. So I think everybody here is kind of on the same page. Everyone's a little more careful. Everyone's kind of just taking it easy. It's not really worth the risk, of course. So the PRB here hit full TP, guys. I don't know if anybody caught that, but it did hit full TP right there. I marked this up when it came up over here at 656. That pushed through right there. There's no breakout V3s here yet. There's no levels entry here yet. Yeah, Rashida said no sell signal, so that's a no entry for her. I agree. Yeah, we're all in the same boat. I'm glad that you guys are being a little cautious here because you guys can see how the fake out is starting to kind of settle in again right here. So we are getting a little bit of a fake out. Price rejected directly off the 1 hour resistance, and it came right back into this area. So it looks like this might be the new area of consolidation and range. Which is fine. So I'll be looking for possibly a CV entry, maybe a V1 variation. So I'm kind of looking for price to climb down a little bit lower, maybe bounce off this area here and then come right back up. We got that pending sell signal. It hasn't closed yet, but pending sell signal right there. The sell signal is necessary for us because this is going to confirm the retracement. Obviously, you can see prices been climbing up. There hasn't been a retracement yet, like a real one. Got to be some sort of real retracement here. So our levels chart. So you guys can see the fake out. I mean, the fake outs are happening at these levels for sure. The levels are acting as, you know, key price points where these fake outs happen, pull back below, correction back up. Here's our clean chart. Our clean chart kind of gives us a better picture because you guys can see the support resistance. So we have the support over here. This was a resistance on the 1 minute, turned into support. We have the 1 hour resistance right here. And it's pretty much doing what we just talked about, right? I said this is probably going to be the new area of consolidation range. And that looks like it exactly. Here's our main chart. You guys can see with the markups, not much different here. Still waiting for that retracement signal, but we don't have it yet. So again, for me personally, I would like price to come down a little bit, maybe provide a V1 variation from down here, and then come back up. The lower, the better. So I would want price to pull down a little lower. As far as it can go down, the best, because we can get the rejection off one of these price points or one of these, like, one of the levels here, and then see the correction back into the range here. But you guys can see the divergence down below. It's starting to get a little stronger. And we will continue to wait for this here to kind of present itself. The ATR is still pretty high. It's at 24. It's been at like around 30 all day today. So we're getting like consistent movement, just not in any direction. Because the candles will tend to like bounce back and forth, and they kind of flatten out for a little bit. But they're still pretty big candles. Sorry, ATR right now is currently at 25. So it's like mouse. Mouse is like moving super slow on the max today. Come on, that's good enough. All right, so back to our clean chart. You guys can see price is just consolidating within this middle area between the support and resistance. Going over to our levels chart, I'm going to keep shuffling between the channels here so that you guys can see. Like looking at different candlesticks, like this is a pretty much clean with just levels. This will kind of show you a good picture of like what's currently happening. This will give you a clean picture to see where price is kind of projecting off of, off the support resistance. And of course, our main chart over here will show you all the extras, right? The trend, divergence, momentum, red flag, etc. So I'll kind of shuffle between those channels so that you guys can kind of see things a little better. A lot of times, if you guys see a clean chart, you go from a messy chart like this, where a lot of markups are, to a clean chart, it kind of sparks your interest. Sometimes you'll see patterns that you don't typically see if the chart's too messy. Sometimes if the chart's too clean, you don't see anything. Obviously, right here, you guys can see the consolidation. So this is a good chart to see, okay, price is consolidating around this area. This chart over here is going to show you the level. So if price breaks past this whole number, possibly correction back up. And of course, this chart over here is going to show you where the opportunities will arise. So I'll just keep going back between them so that you guys can see. There's not really much going on, but as you shuffle between a clean chart, a marked up chart, and a chart with just levels, you'll probably see some patterns here arise. Obviously you can see some patterns here. Price just goes sideways. That's the obviousness of this here. But again, we'd look for some sort of retracement. The retracement here still hasn't happened, guys. This here is consolidation. So I don't consider this, I don't consider this a retracement at all. Price has been climbing, consolidation, no retracement yet. But, there might be a bullish push here again. So like we might have, I'm gonna go here to our clean chart or our levels chart. So we had a bullish climb right here, consolidation, bullish climb right here, consolidation. If it repeats itself, probably a bullish climb back into consolidation again, right? So a lot of things here to look at. Again, I would be careful with taking any entries around this area here. If you guys want to take levels entry, that's really up to you. I'm not going to take it, of course, because the levels entries don't work very well in a sideways market, as you guys can see. And again, there's a resistance up here, so that's another reason to be careful for taking any buys like this close up, because you might get caught in that resistance where price bounces off like it just did right here, pulls back into the range. So there goes a levels entry right there. It looks like it just got filled. And it looks like it already hit. So if anybody took that, solid, I didn't take it. I thought it was a risky entry. This is kind of how we got caught in the fake out yesterday. So I learned from my mistakes yesterday. Not really mistakes, but we learned from the market conditions yesterday that the levels are very tricky, especially in an area where there's possible bounce off the resistance right here. So yeah, I'm not sure if anybody caught that, but that was the levels entry right there that we were kind of waiting for. We were waiting for this to happen way earlier in the session when news happened over here at 6:45 and 7, but as price got closer to this point, it turned into a consolidation area. Not exactly the area where I wanted to be looking for entry here. Yeah, exactly. Nick said, didn't take it since levels requires volatility. I agree. Another reason why I wouldn't have taken it either. Because typically you want it to have volatility, so it pushes up, comes down, pushes right back up. That's pretty much what happened there, but the volatility happened on the actual entry candle, not on the prior candle following up to it. So price is now in the 1 hour resistance level right here. So it kind of did what we just anticipated. So we said earlier right here, price is going to push up, consolidate, push up, consolidate, probably push up, and then consolidate again. Here is the levels chart. We got price pushing up to the next level of liquidity up there. It's at 39,687. So what I would be looking for here is a possible CV entry or a V1 variation, something to establish some sort of bottom. So like I'm looking for price to maybe retrace down here finally, come back up, and push up to that level of liquidity, right? I mean, price might get up to liquidity right now, but I'm looking for the retracement back down a little bit, correction back up, and then push up to the actual liquidity. Or I might just get pushed up right here. I mean, who knows? But this was the same target we were looking at earlier. So this is why we were kind of okay with taking the 650 as levels earlier, because we were looking for price to push up, reject, and come back up to the liquidity. But because of the sideways movement, it just made it more and more of a riskier entry for us to look at. So I'm not going to force any trades here. Again, I'm still looking for that retracement, which I don't have yet. And also there is a sessions right here, New York high. Yeah, Kenny said he would have taken the one at 651, but it was touching open. Yeah, the one back here, right? I was looking at that too. So that was one that I was actually looking at initially. That was one where price pushed up. And then this one right here, right? That's the one that I was looking at. Because it came down here to the 80 mark. But the actual entry retracement candle was touching the open. So I agree with you on that one too. Or if not that one, this one right here next to it too. All right, we're going to the retracement right here finally, or maybe. Yeah, Rashida said retracement and CV back up. I agree. It's kind of what I'm looking for right there too. I'm looking for a CV or a V1 variation, something like that. But we need a sell signal here to confirm the retracement. Once we confirm the retracement, we can have a possible V1 variation. Otherwise, a CV entry would be good too if it actually comes up. So what I'm looking for here is I'm looking for a strong red candle. I'm looking for like some heavy red candles to push price down so that we can catch that correction back up. But we need to have some strong candles. It's got to be like a decently sized candle. It can't be something where it's just like, these weak red candles where they don't really push down very much. Like something like this would be good. A bigger red candle, and then set it for a CV for the correction back up. So the bullish push here wasn't really that strong. As you guys can see, price pushes up a little bit. This was actually a big bullish push, consolidation, slight bullish push right here, consolidation, slight bullish push right here, consolidation. So it looks like this could be another consolidation area within the 1 hour resistance point. This right here is the 1 hour resistance. Price is just sitting in between. We have gas stock change coming up in about 5 minutes. So again, guys, I know this is a weekly event that happens at 7:30. It's low impact, but I would be careful for it because I took a trade that was gas stock change a couple weeks ago. I got caught in the complete reversal, and price actually reacted to it. So just be careful for that there. Looks like overall the uh the whole market's kind of flat today. Not flat, but it's like not really moving too much. The Dow is the only one that's actually moving. It's up 119 points. The S&P is like pretty much neutral at -8 points. NASDAQ is currently down 52 points, and the Russell 2K is down 6 points. So they're pretty much all flat aside from the Dow. The Dow is like the only one that's actually really moving today. It is moving bullish, but moving very slow. All right, let's measure price from opening up until where it's currently at. So there hasn't been too much movement. There hasn't been like 1,000 point or a 100 point move yet. It's the farthest it's moved here is about 70 points. The movement down below here on open did drop quite a bit, about 100 points. But realistically, the range here has been like under 100 points. So the volatility today is, even though the ATR is super high, there's like big candles, there's no actual direction, right? Because the ATR is like up to 30, but it was barely moving. Like it was inching up in a direction. It would just go back and forth. So there's still no entries here right now. Price is getting close to the New York high right here, this green line. It's a red flag, obviously. Again, we haven't gotten that sell signal. Probably wait until news passes right here. Hopefully news kind of drops price a little bit, maybe down to here. And then from here, we can maybe climb its way back up. There's not really much going on here. Price is just sitting in between the levels right here now, between the 700 and the 650. Our clean chart over here, you can see price is kind of trapped within the 1 hour resistance. It's not even able to break past it. All right, we still have the sell signal here that just keeps pending. The sell signal has been pending for the past hour now, basically since we got on. There's no volatility behind the candle, so I don't know if the sell signal will actually close. We got news in about 2 minutes. Looks like price will probably just be flat until then. Not much. Here's a clean chart. The levels chart is kind of useless right now because price isn't really pushing that high. So let's leave it at the clean chart right here. See if it finally breaks past this 1 hour resistance. Not looking like it. All right. So we got news in about 15 seconds. I don't think news is really going to have a big impact. The news at 7:30 is natural gas stock change. It's about it. Forecast is to be negative, or actually positive. Yeah, not much movement there. Another pending sell signal. This will actually close maybe. So the ATR dropped quite a bit, guys. The ATR is now at 18. So like now there's no direction and there's no volatility. It dropped from 30 down to 20, now down to 19, 18. We're getting the sell signal here finally coming up. Let's check the news. The news is actually positive. So I actually like this. I like that the news is positive, but price is actually dropping because we can get that correction back up. I was hoping we'd get it here, but not looking like it. So this candle is actually looking pretty decent on open. There may still be a CV entry here. So this could be the possible CV that we were looking for. Like I said, we need to have a big red candle here so that we can see CV setup. We have another pending sell signal here. So this could be a CV entry. The thing that I'm kind of worried about is that it has a pending sell signal on it. That's what I don't really want to mess with. But there is a possible CV right here. Yeah, the thing that I don't like about this is that it has a pending sell signal and there's also the sessions above. Yeah, I probably wouldn't mess with this here, guys. I mean, if you guys want to take it, I'll mark it up for you guys here. But again, I'm just going to be safe. Today's Friday. It's not worth taking any like dumb risks. But this is the entry that we were looking for. It's a CV entry. So invalid signal right there. There goes the CV. I'm not in this position. So if this came down with a sell signal, I would have been okay with it. But actually, this is no CV. I take that back, guys. Sorry. There's no CV here because the low here is actually a green candle. So if you guys are in that CV, I'd exit for a small profit. The CV here didn't close because this here, the low would have to be a red candle. So if you guys are in that CV, I would just pull out for a small profit right there because you should be in profit. Yeah, then on top of that, Kenny also mentioned that the news candle is part of the setup, which another reason to avoid it. A lot of reasons there to avoid it. Yeah, exactly. And CJ also mentioned it, plus still close to news. Yeah. So the new price hasn't really reacted to the news yet. The news here was positive. Obviously the news here came down at 7:30, and it's still reacting to the news, sort of. Not in a good way, but sort of reacting to it here. Not in a good way because there's just no direction. I mean, a reaction to the news, you want price to kind of come down sharply or come up sharply, but not getting any of that here. Price is just sitting in between the 1 hour resistance. So again, guys, this pink zone right here is the 1 hour resistance. This is where price is consolidating. Not really much here to work with. Okay, so here's sort of a good sign. The good sign here, in my opinion, is that price is now back at this whole number. I like when price gets near these whole numbers because this is where you can typically identify two things. When price gets back to the 650 mark, there's one of two things that are likely to happen. Price will either bounce off it, come right back up, or price will break below, fake out, come right back up, or price will break below and continue dropping back to open, right? There's a lot of different scenarios when price gets near these whole numbers. This is why I like when price gets near here. I don't like when price is in the middle, unless we have an entry. If we have an entry, great, but usually nothing happens in the middle, right? Price usually will push from one zone or one level to the next level. So price is now here at the 650 level. A couple of things here to look out for, right? Look out for the fake out correction back up. Look for the pull down, fake out correction back up. Look for the continuation back down to open. And those are the main things that could happen here, right? My guess is that price will probably go back to open because price has been climbing for so long. It's due for some retracement here to come back down. But I mean, if it doesn't, it'll probably bounce off one of these points here and then maybe climb its way back up. So there's a V1 variation that's setting up right here, guys. There's a V1 variation right here. I'm gonna have to watch this candle because I need this to be pretty clear. If it's not super clear, obviously not even gonna risk it. So we're cutting down to like maybe the 30-second mark. I mean, this candle will probably have to be bigger than this. I probably want it to be engulfing at least. Maybe a CB entry here as well. Watch it here. All right, so this looks like it could be a pretty decent V1 variation. So I'll be taking this here, guys, when it closes. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, so I got into it right there. I'm gonna watch it. TP is at, where's the TP at? 62.
Order submitted.
Drop it down a little bit. So I'm out right there, guys. Full TP.
Order filled.
I got some slippage on that though. Throw them all out. All right, so I got some slippage on that. Unfortunately, my entry was like not the best, but I got out. Yeah, I don't know what. Okay, let me see. My profits are kind of all over the place. I mean, it's all good. I made profit on that. I had to cut out for a little bit less, but it basically set me into a break even for the week. So here goes my profits right there. Let me just screenshot this. Yeah, this is what I don't really like about taking market entries because I have to adjust my TP stop loss and then it doesn't give me the full profit, but I mean, it is what it is. Took my win right there. And I will add this to, that was a V1 variation and points. So it swung me back into profit because of my fees, unfortunately, because of the slippage. I'm at like break even for the week. I was supposed to make some profit on this because I was like 5 points up, but I'll show you guys when it counts. So it's basically a break even week for me. Because of the slippage and because of the all right. So I mean, this week kind of sucked overall, but I'm glad you made profit on that trade right there. So let me just go and put this over here real quick in the Discord. All right, so here are my profits for the day. So I locked in about, so I'm still profitable on one account. I think this one over here, I forgot to turn on the copier the other day. So that's why I didn't take the loss on this account. But for the most part, I mean, these are my profits for the day and the week so far. This is I think this is my personal account. So these are my two PA accounts. This is my personal account. This is my 100K account. And this is the rest of my Apex accounts down here. So you guys can see I locked in about 800. I was supposed to make 1,000 on that trade, but because of my entry, I had to change my TP a little bit by 1 point. So I just lost out on 1 point there. It should have been 1,000, but it's all good. Took the reduction there because I had to go and move my TP a little bit closer due to my entry. So overall for the week, I mean, technically it's around like break even, slight profit, but because of the trades that we took this week, I think we took 3 trades. I had to pay commission, so that's why I'm in the red right here for the week, but I'd rather pay commissions than have a loss, right? So those are my profits for the day, profits for the week. Unfortunately, it was not the best week. We had a short week because of the holiday, and then also market volatility here hasn't been very directional. So we'll keep looking for another opportunity here, but I'm not really expecting too much to happen from now until then. There's a possible CB entry right here, guys, that's setting up. I probably will hold off on this because it's below the pivots. So I typically don't like taking CB entries when they're this far back. If they're closer, I'd be a little more inclined, but because of the pullback this far, the thing that I'm worried about is that price will push back to the opening price right here further. But that's kind of where it's aiming for, right? If you zoom out a little bit, that's the target price point. So here's the clean chart. As you can see, price is back into the original range. This is basically the fake out area right here, into the resistance, and price is back to where it was earlier, right here down the middle. So again, this is a possible CB entry. I'm going to hold off on it because it's below the there's just like a lot of red flags here. Red flags for me to worry about taking any more buys because price will probably come down and retest the opening price. And that's pretty much what's happening right here. Let's see. I mean, there's not really much here to work with. So if you guys remember the scenarios I gave you guys earlier, when price broke past the 650 right here, I said price will either fake out and come back up. That's one. Price will push down a little lower and fake out, back up, or price will break below and continue climbing to opening price. So scenario number 3 looks like the better case here. And that's probably what's going to happen. Price will probably consolidate here for a little bit and then eventually make its way back down to opening price. And that's exactly what's happening right here. It's inching its way lower and lower and lower down to opening price right here. And once it gets to opening price, you know, one of two things will happen here again. Price will get to opening price. It'll either bounce off it, break back into the range, break below it, come down to the next level of support, or might just consolidate around this area right here. So there we go. Price is back to open. This point here. All right, so trying to see if there's anything else here for us to look at, but not really too much. So again, right here, you can just see where price is likely to bounce off, opening price. So you can just anticipate the scenarios here that can play out. Either bounce off it, shoot back up, break below, push down to the next level of support right here. Going to our levels chart here, same thing. Price is right back at the level right here at the 600 mark. See if it breaks below, climbs back down. Or bounce off the level there, come back up. All right, so we got some team profits over here. Let's take a look. So we got Natasha here with a total profit of 624 for the day. Nice work, Natasha. We have David here, total profit of 135. Nice work, David. We've got Max here, total profit of 95 per account. He has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 accounts, about 600 for the day. Yeah, Max said, hate trading Fridays, basically got out break even. See you guys next week. Yeah, definitely, Max. We'll see you back here then. We got Cam over here. Total profit for the week, 6, 12, 18, 24, about 24,000 for the week. Nice work, Cam. Yeah, pretty solid for the week. You know, especially with the short week and the sideways market, pretty good profit right there. And then we have Natasha's second account, total profit of 712. So great work today, guys. You guys locked in some pretty good profit for the day and for the week. For me over here, I locked in some pretty decent profit for the day. I guess I could add it up real quick. So 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. So 8,000 right there. 1, 2. So 8,000 plus 7,000 plus 210 plus 425, 400 plus 400. So for the day, 16,435, and for the week, let's see, 76, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 760. So for the week, due to the costs of fees and stuff, 176 plus 760 plus 45 plus 43 plus 33 minus 788. So I'm at a small loss for the week. For the day, this is what I locked in. For the week, due to my commissions and fees, because we took 3 trades, I had to pay commissions for all those 3 trades, of course. I'm technically around break even, slightly in profit, but because of the commissions and fees, I'm down 1,853, which is not bad. I mean, that's the cost of trading. So it's all good. But other than that, there's not really much else here for us to take, guys. If there's any questions that you guys have, feel free to put your questions in the chat. I was hoping we'd have one more entry here so that I can kind of balance my way back into the green across all my accounts. But I mean, we're better off not forcing any trades here unless I see something really good. So there's a divergence right here, Nick. I'm not sure if you're still on here. Yeah, there's a divergence right there, but not a good one, of course, because the trend wasn't really confirmed. But your divergence happened down there. And this would have pushed up for a few points. The volatility is really low though, so I probably wouldn't mess with it. We might have a breakout B3 continuation here if this ends up climbing up higher. But again, I think this is probably not the best time to take anything risky. So like I said earlier, guys, right here, price came back down to the opening price. From this point, price was either going to bounce off it, come right back up, or price was going to break below and continue climbing down, right? The scenario here is pretty obvious. Price climbed back up and it's now pulling back into the range. So price trying to climb back up to this point here and then sit within the range, of course. Yeah, this week wasn't the best. Let's see, there's no holidays next week, right? I'm hoping so. So looking at the news for next week, it's pretty smooth. There's not really too much news going on, so we might have a smoother market. We have the Fed speaking kind of throughout the day. Wednesday, we have new home sales again, month over month. So you don't really have much news until Wednesday. Wednesday, we got news. Thursday, we have news over here as well, continuing jobless claims. Yeah, there's not really too much. PCE price index. So next week we have news basically Wednesday through Friday. Monday, Tuesday are gonna be a little calm. Yeah, other than that, there's not really too much there. So I'm okay with the sideways market. If the market stays sideways like this for the rest of the summer, which it probably will, we'll stick to our sideways entries. So we still have a playbook for this. We're going to be looking at V1 variations, CV entries, high-level momentum scalps. This is probably what's to expect for the rest of summer, guys. So like expect maybe 1,000 or 100-point move in both directions, or even less. So you could expect maybe this much movement to happen for the for pretty much every day, which is fine because the price consolidates within these areas. We can still take trades within these little pockets here. It's probably gonna be less though, especially on non-news days. All right, so we got price climbing up right here. This is the breakout V3 continuation as price climbs back up higher. But I'm not really expecting much to happen here. So, all right, guys, if you guys have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. It's 7:50 right now, about 10 minutes till 8. You guys can see the volatility here is pretty low. The ATR is dropping down to below 15. So I'm not really expecting much to happen here. The trend isn't really confirmed anymore either. So there's not too much to really look for. I mean, with regard to direction, price is probably just going to sit in between this range here for a bit. If you guys do decide to trade after this live session, probably wait until 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock, some people come back from lunch, and that's usually where price starts to kind of move again. So this will probably just go sideways from now until 9. And then eventually it'll start to pick back up. Post 9. So, all right, guys, if you guys have more profits to post up, feel free to send them in. Let's see. I'll pull up the messages later. I don't want to pull up the private messages right now. I thought Natasha was going to send me another I thought Natasha was going to send me another past account, but it's okay. I'll check that out in a few. So, all right, guys, if there's any other questions, feel free to reach out. Otherwise, I think this is going to be it for the day. As you guys can see, price is just consolidating sideways. It's not worth to take any risks here because price is probably just going to sit around this area until 9 o'clock. And then if you guys do decide to trade later, it's probably going to pick back up. And I think, so from my perspective, let me just take a look on the bigger time frame real quick. Actually, never mind. So I was thinking price was probably going to rally towards the end of the session, but because it's currently, you guys can see right here, it's basically at a double top. It's probably just going to consolidate for the rest of the day, if not range. So I think for the rest of the day, it'll probably just keep going back and forth. I don't think there's going to be a rally or a drop today. I don't think there's any news really causing anything like that to happen, but yeah, I think that'll be it. But all right, so if you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out. Otherwise, for today, I think this is going to be about it. This week wasn't the greatest week. We had 2 wins and 1 loss, so we're technically in the profit for this week, like very slight profit, because on Monday or whatever, what day did we take that trade? Go here real quick. All right, so let's go over here to my official trades real quick. So I just want to go over the totals so that you guys have an idea of like how this week ended. So on the 18th over here, we took 1 trade, a CB entry for a full TP. That gave us 10 points. Then we took a loss yesterday for the levels entry that dropped us down to -5. And then today we took 1 trade, which is a V1 variation for a full TP. And that brings us into a slight profit for the week. We're up about 5 points. It's not a lot. You guys are probably going to be like at break even because of the fees from your trades, but for the most part, that's pretty much what we locked in for the day. So 2 wins, 1 loss for this week, and that's how we're going to wrap up the week. So, all right, guys, if you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out. Otherwise, I'll see you guys back here on Monday for market open. So, all right, guys.